because the Democrats would like you to. Now we've seen that.
Can I get my flag back? Hey guys! USA! 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 USA!
Concede, it doesn't happen. We will not take it anymore, and that's what you people really came up with. We will stop the steal.
Stop the steal! Stop the steal! Stop the steal!
There's no joke about it. I've been in 2 elections. I won them both, and the second one I won much bigger than the first. 75 million people voted for our campaign, the most of any incumbent president by far in the history of the country. 12 million more people than 4 years ago. The military and the Secret Service, and we want to thank you and the police, law enforcement. You're doing a great job. You just let them come on, please. And Rudy, you did a great job. He's got guts, unlike a lot of people in the Republican Party. He's got guts. He fights. He fights. Thank you. Fantastic job. I watched. That's a tough act. Even if you're going to do it, don't talk about it, right? Unbelievable. We have to go. What we have to go through, and you have to get your people to fight. And if they don't fight, we have to primary the hell out of the ones that don't.
Yeah!
You know who they are. I can already tell you, frankly. But this year, using the pretext of the China virus and the scam of mail-in ballots, Democrats attempted the most brazen and outrageous election theft. And there's never been anything like this. It's a pure theft in American history. Everybody knows. That election, our election, was over at 10 o'clock in the evening. We're leading Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia by hundreds of thousands of votes. And then late in the evening or early in the morning, boom, these explosions of bullshit.
This is insane.
Holy shit, they're storming the Capitol. They're storming the Capitol. I think they're on the side of the building over there. Check! We the people! We the people! USA! 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 USA!
Never seen nothing like this. Alex Jones.
We couldn't tell how many people there were because of all the flags, but according to the fact that there were 2 million flags, even being liberal and giving everybody 2 flags, tear gas.
Here comes the tear gas. Fucking bastard! Motherfucker! You ready? building. As far as you can see, we the people. I gotta go.
This is amazing. Let's go.
That's all we wanted.
Let's go.
Let's go. Get up here. Let's go. The people have a voice.
The people have a voice. Let's go.
Hear your voice. Your voice.
Backside of the Capitol here. Holy crap. They're at the doors of the Capitol in the backside here. No police. They can't protect this area. At the Capitol building, we're actually up on. Look at that. So now they're at the doors here. Everybody, every age, is the most interesting thing I've ever seen in this country. No matter where you look, you're seeing people. Okay, I'm getting out of here.
You're watching CramerSez.
Welcome all. Welcome. My name is Kramer. This is the CramerSez Project. It is January 6th, 2026. 5 years ago from that day, where were you? I know where I was. I was standing at the foot of the Capitol, screaming and yelling that we needed to stop the steal because what we saw happen in 2020 was bullshit. It was bullshit. The election was rigged. We get all these fucking pompous assholes left and right. They know what they did. They know what happened on January 6th. We all know. Everybody that was there knows exactly what happened on January 6th. Do you believe the lies? Are you a moron? Do you believe the lies of the mainstream media? Why? Because orange guy bad? Those were your fellow Americans there. We were defending your rights just like we were defending ours. You see, the rigged election didn't just get rigged against us. It got rigged against all of us. You as well. They lied to you as well. Are you good with them lying to you? You must be. You see, you're lucky or you're happy right now, and you're fine with them lying to you right now for one reason. You benefit from the lie. You benefit from the lie. But when you don't, like Mamdani in New York, they've already done it. The old socialist switching bait. They've already done it, folks. I think it's hilarious. Mamdani says, if you elect me, I'm going to make the buses free. The trains will run for free. All on me. I'm going to do that. Okay, let's elect him. He gets in office, and what happens? We're going to raise the price to $3. Not free. Sorry. Psych. And now they're all bitching. They lie to you on a regular basis. You know that. Why do you believe them? The lies that were told about January 6th, folks, off the fucking charts. Eric Swalwell, Adam Kinzinger, the rest of those cunts that were part of this process of coup. And it's getting worse. And the reason I say it's getting worse is because, folks, we're getting ready to go into another election, and we still haven't fixed this one. Well, 2024 was fine. You think so? Have you been looking at the reports of the number of people that have been arrested since the 2024 election for fraud? Election fraud? Not to mention the 315,000 votes that we found down there in Georgia. Fraudulent votes. That right there is evidence of widespread election fraud. You see, there's two differences. There's two things here. There's election fraud and there's voter fraud. You and I, if capable, we're the ones that commit voter fraud. That's what we do. We're voters. we commit voter fraud. Not concerned about voter fraud. It's hard to make voter fraud work. I can go vote 20 times, but in a city where there's 10 million people voting, me voting 20 times probably isn't going to make much of an impact. But if you're in charge of election fraud, if you commit election fraud, that's something completely different. That's much easier to do. I can commit election fraud really quickly by just doing this or this with a button or a switch or a check mark or taking a file out and not putting it back in where it goes. I can do all of those things. It's easy to do. That is election fraud. That's when the system is being defrauded from within inside, and they've got control of the entire thing. Folks, I'm going to run you through some things tonight that I think that you ought to start thinking about, especially the fucknuts out there that don't know what's going on in Venezuela. Trump ain't doing like he did last time. He learned his lesson, folks. Everything that Trump is doing is coming in through the side window. He's not doing anything head on. Nothing. Everybody is surprised and shocked every day because Trump does something new. They don't know what's going to happen next. They're waiting for the next shoe to drop. But Trump's got a plan. And if you've been watching his post on Truth, he's been saying the same thing over and over again for the last several days. He's posting tons of election fraud information from 2020. He keeps posting videos that have to do with election fraud. Why is that? Because he's setting up the next game. There's a bunch of people out there that keep saying that nothing's ever going to happen, nothing's ever going to happen, nothing's ever going to happen. Folks, they rolled about 14 years into that event. To get to where they had Trump and to be in a position to where they could do what they were going to do with Trump, it took 14 years to get there. 14 years of sabotage and subterfuge and lying and cheating and setting the systems up. 14 years. And you think you're going to get it unrolled in just a couple? What Trump is doing right now is setting them all up. Folks, the deal in Venezuela is not about the oil. It's not about the power down there. Trump is resetting the entire planet. When he started bombing those boats in Venezuela, he's there for two reasons. Two. First of all, did you ever see the movie with Gene Hackman called French Connection? Are you familiar with that one? That was the movie that showcased that there was a path from South America through the Caribbean to Africa, across Madagascar, there at Spain, and then from Spain into France. Hence the name of the movie, The French Connection. That's how they got their drugs into Europe, out of South America, cocaine in particular, in the 1970s. Gene Hackman made a whole movie about it. Very exciting. That's just one step. Now, if you know anything about the European drug trade, you'll understand that it's not run by the typical gangster that you're thinking of here in the United States. No, it's by the elites. It always has been. That's where they get their money from. They don't produce anything, folks. They don't have any companies. They don't produce cars, trucks, vans. They don't produce anything. So where do these elites get their money from? A lot of them get it from the drug trade. They've been doing it for eons. It's nothing new. If you go back and you watch The French Connection, what you'll understand is it's based on real life, a real investigation. They were doing the same thing back then. And if you go through and you watch the end of the movie and you find out who all the culprits are, it's the elite of Europe. That's who controls the drug trade. Trump is cutting the heads off of their snakes, the hydras that control the planet. Cutting off this one. That's one. The second thing, he's cutting off oil in Venezuela. Now, Venezuela doesn't give a lot of oil. They only do about 700 to 900,000 barrels a day. We do 13 to 20 million. So when people say we're down there for the oil, that's a long-term play. Long-term. He's there for Cuba. You see, Cuba gets all of its oil from Venezuela. All of it. Every drop. he's effectively shut off Cuba. He's shutting off the drug trade to the south. So not only is he fucking with the Europeans, but he's also fucking with the power base of South America that relies on that drug cash flow to be able to do what they do. He's robbing them of their cash. So that's phase one. Phase two. If you remember, the company Smartmatic. Smartmatic was based out of what country? What was that country? Venezuela. Venezuela is where Smartmatic came out of. Now, what was Smartmatic? Smartmatic is the company that Dominion became. Dominion. Remember them? That company that handled the votes back in 2020 that they said was the cleanest, most transparent of all time. If you know what happened in Venezuela when Chavez came into office, he used Smartmatic as the voting system. The voting system was used in Venezuela to maintain Chavez in office. It was created to cheat, so no one could tell. We know that because they reported on that when Chavez did it. All the Democrats were all pissed off. Remember those videos where they were all saying, hey, listen, we got to watch out for this? The Republicans could use those machines. The Democrats wanted to go to paper ballots. They wanted to get away from the machines. And then suddenly they didn't. Smartmatic and the rest of these people made it very lucrative. For all the county officials and state officials, they made it very lucrative. Folks, it's not just these companies. It's also the people that allowed this to happen. Everybody got a taste of the money. Everybody. Not sure if you saw, but Lieutenant Michael Byrd, the gentleman who shot Ashley Babbitt in the neck, killed her. He's just been busted. Not know if you're aware of this, but it's just been revealed that Lieutenant Michael Byrd, the murderer of Ashley Babbitt, has received somewhere in the ballpark of $190 million for an unaccredited daycare that he has in his home. He's had that since 2008. I'm going to say it again. He's got an unaccredited daycare in his home, not a building, right? Not a commercial space, in his home. And he's cleared $190 million? Really? Tom Fitton's got this to say.
We just uncovered documents that show the CIA
Well, maybe.
had folks involved in the response to January 6th. Now, I got a question for you. What if I had told you 3 weeks ago, and I said, oh, I think the CIA was involved somehow on January 6th. Somehow they were involved somehow. I'd probably get thrown off the internet, right? For promoting a conspiracy theory. But we just uncovered documents that show the CIA had folks involved in the response to January 6th. And here's my video first highlighting it.
Hey everyone, Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton here with some massive news. Judicial Watch just uncovered that the CIA was involved in the response to the January 6th disturbances on Capitol Hill. In fact, CIA bomb technicians were sent over to the RNC and DNC where those pipe bombs supposedly were found. On top of that, there were CIA dog teams on standby in response to January 6th. Now, there are a lot of questions that are raised by our disclosures. First of all, why did it take Judicial Watch heavy lifting in federal court to get access to these documents after all these years? Why didn't the Pelosi January 6th committee, even as corrupt as it was, not disclose the CIA involvement? What was the CIA involved for? Were they investigating foreign intelligence operations? Were they investigating American citizens? What else have they done related to January 6th? All these questions you can be sure your Judicial Watch will pursue in federal court if necessary.
That was a pretty good summary, huh? Isn't it incredible? So we had asked for records from the Department of Justice. What did we ask for? Last year. We asked for records and communications regarding shots being fired inside the U.S. Capitol, as well as requests for Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Explosive Special Response Team assistance on January 6th. So remember, they had these pipe bombs that were supposedly found at the RNC and DNC. And so we were interested in the responses there. So we got a bunch of text messages. Of course, they ignored our request, and we had to sue in federal court. Again, this is June of 2023. We filed the lawsuit. We probably had asked, we asked in no, we filed the lawsuit in August. We asked for the records in June. So we've been waiting almost a year for these records. And it took a federal lawsuit to get them out to us. And so we got these ATF text messages that detail the CIA's involvement. And there are kind of two sets of text messages. And they're very interesting to read because they do talk about, as I say, we were asking about the reports of shots fired. The only shots were fired were the shots fired, at least in the Capitol, the shot fired at poor Ashley Babbitt by Lieutenant Michael Byrd, U.S. Capitol Police officer who, in our view, unlawfully shot her, illicitly shot her for no good reason, popped out, shot her. Dead. And we're representing her family in a wrongful death action right now, a federal lawsuit against the U.S. government for $30 million. So here you can see the ATF, basically all these panic messages about the disturbance on January 6th. But what was most interesting in them to me was the involvement of the Secret Service. So here's the first text message detailing the involvement of the Central Intelligence Agency, not the Secret Service, the CIA. Several CIA dog teams on standby near the southwest area of the Capitol. What were they doing there? Why were they on standby? Were they called ahead of time? I don't know. First time we're hearing about it. And then there were technicians sent to where those pipe bombs were. CIA bomb techs. Why were they down there? Now typically the CIA is not supposed to be involved in domestic operations like that. So what was the purpose of their being involved? I mean, this is the D.C. area. We don't need extra folks like the CIA being involved here typically. Was there a foreign intelligence component that they were investigating? What else did they do? I don't know, but we're going to ask more questions and try to find out. But these are pretty extraordinary records, don't you agree? The CIA was involved in the response to January 6th. Were they called ahead of time and told to stand by? Who talked to them? Why were they put on standby? Or did they just show up in an emergency fashion on January 6th? I don't know. Why didn't Pelosi's rump January 6th committee disclose this? Where's the media been? Where have Republicans been? Do you think it's important that CIA resources were deployed in response to the January 6th? And I don't even know if it was in response. Maybe they were just waiting around because they knew something was going to happen. I had a good interview. We should link the interview below with Glenn Beck about this. But this is pretty shocking. CIA do anything else related to January 6th? Is anyone going to ask the question other than Judicial Watch? I hope so.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
Local news with local views.
From the halls of Congress
Across the nation.
and around the globe.
You're getting the latest news and conservative views.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
Global news with local views.
CramerSez returns after this message from our partners.
they lied about it. They tried to hide it.
It was 100% unconstitutional. That's what we were saying in 2024.
I could have sworn that yesterday we learned that the FBI tapped my phone.
And today the NLPC has been vindicated by Senator Grassley's document dump, revealing Jack Smith illegally and unconstitutionally spied on American citizens.
Jack Smith spied members of the United States Senate. What is this, East Germany?
Grassley's document dump has revealed that Jack Smith's team illegally seized call logs from Ron Johnson, Lindsey Graham, Mike Lee, and Josh Hawley in the unconstitutional 2023 Arctic Frost Probe.
From the outset, we said Jack Smith's appointment was unconstitutional. A federal judge vindicated that view. Now we see the connection between unconstitutional prosecutions and illegal evidence gathering.
The NLPC has been on top of this story from the beginning. Follow or subscribe to the NLPC on this platform for more. Or visit the National Legal and Policy Center at nlpc.org.
To learn more about the CramerSez project, our mission, and how you can become a part of it, please visit thecramersezproject.com.
You're watching CramerSez.
Welcome back. My name is Kramer. This is the CramerSez Project. It is January 6th, 2026, 5 years after a major protest took place in D.C. Not an insurrection. If you were around when I opened the show, I had about 25 minutes worth of content where I just showed the B-roll that I gathered while I was at the Capitol. I stood at the bottom of the stairs for the majority of the day, watching Americans scream and yell at a building, telling the people inside that we want justice. We want you to stop what you're doing and take just a fucking moment to ensure that what you're doing is right. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it. Mike Pence, the traitor, stood up. He's a Judas. He assisted in the coup. He's going to run in 2028. He's already putting his little group together here in Indiana. They're right up the road from me, literally about 3-4 miles up the road. A bunch of people left the Heritage Foundation. They're joining Mike Pence's team. They think that they're the savior to the Republican Party, that once Trump is gone, MAGA's dead. That's what they believe. That's what Mike Pence is saying. MAGA's dead. Once Trump's gone, it's going to just move on. It's going to fade away. Folks, Trump is not nearly as savage as the rest of MAGA is. He's the nice guy among us. He's the one with couth. And they don't think he has very much of that. Well, if you don't like the level of couth that Donald Trump has, you're going to hate our level. Mike Pence is a cunt. There's no other way to say it. He's a traitorous cunt. I've known Mike Pence in this area. I'm from Indiana. We both worked in radio together. Mike Pence is one of those guys that, as far as I'm concerned, you don't trust anything that comes out of his pie hole. And that's before he got into politics. So if I'm speaking about Mike Pence like that on a personal level, I'm telling you that politically, you can't trust what the man says. He's a liar. He will do anything he needs to. I'll give you an example. In Indiana, we had a situation similar to the Colorado baker who the gays came after. And they were going to force the baker to do something that they didn't want. Well, we wanted the same law here in Indiana to protect us. We wanted to be protected from that. We didn't want someone, anyone, gay or otherwise, coming into our business and telling us what we had to do for them. I got my money. I want your service. You have no choice. Well, there's not everybody do I want to work for. You come in, you got too much of a lisp, maybe I don't want to work for you. The state shouldn't be making me do that. That's what Mike Pence advocated for. He was going to stand up to the groups, and then all the gays came after him. Why? Why did Mike Pence shirk away from the gay community? The excuse that was given in the state of Indiana was the Chamber of Commerce convinced him that it was in his best interest. But I know for a fact that Mike Pence is more afraid of that gay crowd and what they might know and what they might say than anything else. I've known Mike Pence for a long time. People ought to look into that. They really should. Did you notice that in that footage, if you were around at the beginning, did you notice any Mexican flags? Somalian flags? Any flags from any South American country? Did you notice any other flag but American flags, red, white, and blue, and Trump. That was it. Well, that's because you guys are in that cult. This is what I think is hilarious. I saw a guy that went out and bought a $35 shirt. He was bragging about it. A $35 shirt that says, fuck Trump. You hate a man so much you bought that shirt? You know, he's not wearing your name on his chest, but you're wearing his on yours. Who does that make the sicko? You hate a man so much you'll wear his name on your chest? You'll buy products that you can burn just so you can say you hate him? Folks, we are in a situation in this nation, and I've been talking about it for months, that we're not going to get out of. Where we are right now in this nation is the most dangerous position this nation has been in my lifetime. That's not hyperbole, it's a fact. You can feel it, everybody knows it. We're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Is it going to be the illegals rising up? Or is it going to be the Muslims rising up? Or is it going to be the left rising up? Or is it going to be a combination of all of them rising up? Or is it going to be an attack from somebody else? The entire world is on fire. People are looking for answers. They know what I'm saying. What are the answers? You. It's you. Nobody else is going to come to your rescue. I say the same thing over and over and over again. I told a friend the other night, I said, I went back and listened to my show. I must have the most boring podcast on the fucking planet. Because I say the exact same thing every night. Every time I come on here, I tell you exactly what you need to do. The number one question I get is, what do we do? What can we do? You're not doing it. Democrats know what it is. It's show up in the streets, folks. It's that time. It's time to start showing the people in Washington, D.C., and in your state capitals, and in your city centers, your town halls, that you're tired of this bullshit. You want to get back to normalcy. You don't want to live in a world where you have to wait for a Muslim to pray in the fucking street or a fucking lefty to protest in the fucking street. You're just trying to get to work so you can pay your goddamn taxes, and you got these motherfuckers you got to deal with on a daily basis. You think those people who aren't dealing with it, you think they're going to fix it, that they have any interest whatsoever in fixing your problem? No, just get to work and pay your fucking taxes. That's all they want. And every 2, 4, or 6 years, give me a vote and maybe some money to help my campaign. Other than that, they don't want anything to do with you. My dad said a long time ago that if people wanted to do it, they would. I didn't get invited to a birthday party. I knew he wanted to do it. No, he didn't, Tim. If he wanted to invite you, he would. That's how choice works. People want to, they do. You do it in your own life. You want to get a new car? You got the money? Guess what happens? You get a new car. You want to mow the lawn? You get a lawnmower? Guess what happens? The lawn gets mowed. I hope it's yours. If you want to, you do. If they wanted to, they would. If they wanted to fix health care, they would. They don't. If they wanted to lower taxes and make your life better to live, they would. They don't. If they wanted to fix the issues in our society, in our culture, they would. They don't. It doesn't benefit them. How much time do you spend every day solving the problems of our culture and society? You don't. They don't either. Nobody does. That's why we're here. Everybody's expecting somebody else to keep everybody else accountable. But when the people that are supposed to keep everybody else accountable are the fucking crooks, they're the mafia. What's the difference between the mafia and the government? Tell me. I can't tell. Hey, we're going to protect you. We got your shores, we got your cities, we got your streets. All you have to do is pony up a little cash every week. Just give us a little. Just a little tax, not too much. What's the difference? Oh, you don't want to pay. Really? Okay. Well, maybe I send the boys over and they rough you up a bit. What's the difference? There's no difference. There's none. So our founding fathers didn't want us here. That's why what happened on January 6th was so important for everybody. The left sees it for exactly what it is, the threat to them that it is. That's why they have to call it an insurrection and not a protest. After they burned cities down for 4 fucking years, they have the fucking balls to call that an insurrection. Did you see any guns in that footage? Who died that day? No cops. American citizens did. 2 women. 2 women died that day. I think there was a total of 6 altogether, but 2 women that I know of for sure. Ashley Babbitt and the lady who suffocated to death because they wouldn't stop beating her long enough to let her get her breath. I've told you before, and I'm going to tell you again, I hear, and I want to be real clear here. I support the blue, but not that day. Nope. Those were American citizens that they were doing that to. American citizens. But they were what? If you watch the footage, folks, we were peaceful. We were not doing anything. There was nobody at the front doing anything. I had a perfect view of everything that was going on. Nothing was happening. We were singing. And then suddenly there's a guy that came walking through the crowd. We'd heard a blast, and he comes walking through the crowd. They had shot at his face. He had a big hole in his cheek right here where the projectile went through his cheek. Now, those projectiles, they're supposed to fire at the ground. Did you notice they were firing them into the air? They were exploding in the air. People got shrapnel wounds in the crowd. Oh, that's because you're all... Folks, those are American citizens. I want you to take a look at what the Democrats are having a problem with today. They're having a problem with Trump telling Venezuela and the drug dealers down there that you're not sending any more drugs out. Those days are over. In Colombia, you're on watch too. They got a problem with that. Don't have a problem with police officers firing into the crowd. They have a problem with a drug addict who overdoses while in police custody. Well, he had his knee on his neck. He had his knee on his shoulder, you fucking cunt. But you don't want to believe that. You don't know. You don't want to be honest. You want to tell the lie so it makes you feel better, so you can continue to feel superior, that you've got all the answers. You believe the lie, which means we got to go to war. There's no other choice, folks. Trump is trying to save it, but he can't do it. Why? Because they're intent on going to war. They want a world war. They want us gone. They want the skirmish. They need the skirmish. They keep... The game is so simple and so easy to see. It's the little sister in the back seat going, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. That's what's going on at all these ICE locations. Did you hear the news from the new year? Man from another country doesn't have authorization to have a firearm. Indiscriminately firing into the air. You know, the celebrations like they do in the homeland. An off-duty ICE officer was around the corner, happened to hear the gunfire, came around the corner. I don't know what happened next, but I'll tell you this. The ICE officer didn't die. The other guy did. Now the left is picking up, he was just firing into the sky. He wasn't aiming at anybody. He was just indiscriminately firing his AR-15 into the air. Suddenly they're all pro-Second Amendment. They're pro-gun. The moment the law is enforced, the moment fuck around and find out comes to the doorstep of a fucking moron, suddenly they've got a cause. They've got a reason to get into the streets and set buildings on fire. They're looking for a reason, folks. They don't care what it is. The last time it was George Floyd. They don't care what it is. They just need a reason. And the process is simple. I think it's interesting that Marco Rubio said that the days of the NGOs getting billions and billions and billions of U.S. tax dollars are over, that they're not doing that anymore. They're killing those programs. They're over. But the process is simple. Tax dollars are taken from the U.S., from you, out of your pocket, given to an NGO, a non-governmental organization. A lot of them run by Soros. Not all of them, but a bunch of them. I'm working on a documentary right now that is breaking all of that down. Where the money comes from, where it goes, who gets it, and how they spend it, and what they do. It's we're living in interesting times because it is so chaotic. Now, the left is saying, well, that's because Trump did all that. No, the reason that I say it's chaotic is because so many things are happening so fast that even for those of us who are in the news all day long, we can't keep up. It's just too much. As I've been saying for the last few years, the moment that the event that we've been looking for begins to happen, we will be getting more information than we can consume. It'll be like getting truth from a fire hose. Doesn't it feel like that's what's going on right now? Because it has to be that way. The reason it has to be that way is because these people, they know what they've done. They know the crimes they've committed. Nancy Pelosi, in a drunk tirade, blames Trump. Oh, he didn't send the National Guard. It's all his fault. These are the people ruling our nation right now, folks. Lesser men and lesser women that are bleeding us on one end and stealing from us on the other. So I ask you, who's going to fix it? You think they're going to do it? What incentive do they have to do it? Why would they fuck with the status quo? The status quo is good for them. The status quo benefits them. It feeds them, it warms them, it allows them to have fun on their jet skis and their parties and doing their $6 ice creams. That's how it benefits them. How's it benefiting you? Let me put things in context for you, folks. In 1776, by the way, happy 250th anniversary to this country. Happy birthday, everybody, 250 years. We've saved the Republic this long. But back then, we talk about them a lot. We romanticize them a lot. And I don't think that most of you keep it in mind what's going on. And what led up to what they were doing. They decided that they didn't want to be told what to do anymore. And they said, no, we're willing to die. That's the most dangerous thing. I made a video today. I'm surprised TikTok still allows it to be up there. But I said basically that nobody's going to do anything anytime soon because everybody is still too comfortable. You see, to make change, you have to be willing to kill someone. Everybody's there. Everybody's talking about it. Left and right. Everybody's ready to kill somebody. But there's the other side of that coin. You got to be willing to die for your cause too. Most people ain't ready to do that. That's why we are where we are. Now, the father and son, the Muslims that were shooting the Jews in Bondi Beach, you see, what they realized is that if they wanted to make change, they were going to have to commit to it. Commit. They were going to have to be willing to die. They knew that they were going to kill people. They knew they could do that. That wasn't going to be a problem. But you might die doing that. That's hard. You ready to do that? Unless you're ready to die, you're not ready to kill. Not in this stance. Not in the defense of a nation. These are blunt talks because, folks, these are the conversations that our founding fathers had. Have you read any of the documents of our founding fathers, what they were actually saying, talking about what was important to them and why they were doing what they were doing? If you haven't, first of all, you're a moron. You've done yourself a real disservice. But if you go and read those, what you will learn is those men realized what I realize. It's not going to get any better. Tyrants never allow things to get better, ever. Only worse. It's what they do. It's in their DNA. They can't help themselves. Now, it's been 4 years since, or 5 years since January 6th, but since the election of 2020, and we saw what we saw there, the border was open and nobody did anything, myself included. Now, I went to the border. I reported on it. I told people, hey, listen, this is what's going on down here. But I didn't grab my gun. Neither did you. We're comfortable. Somebody else will do that. They'll take care of that. And then we found out that, well, Biden wasn't going to allow that to happen, and it was going to be a fight, and it was Texas had to do what they did, but the rest of them left it wide open. 10 to 20 million people walked through the doors. Now, when we watched that happen in 2014 in Europe, remember that? In fact, Trump used that footage in his commercials, and they called him out for it, and they said, well, that's not the southern border. And he goes, no, it's a border. That's what we're showcasing. It's a border being overrun. It doesn't matter where the border is. It's illegal. Don't do that. But the left lost their minds, not over the fact of what was going on, but that Trump used a piece of footage. People of Europe didn't stop it either. We've got the same exact problem we do. Why? Because what the government knows is what Trump knows. What the governments of the world know is what Trump knows. What does he know? What is he saying about Greenland? We're going to get it. It's going to be ours. Guess what's going to happen? We're going to take Greenland. We're probably going to take Cuba too, and probably a couple of South American countries. If they move at the pace that they're moving, all of that will happen. Trump's moved on to a different kind of strategy. Fuck the rest of the planet. They cannot be saved. He's got to save what he can here. How's he going to do that? Make the Americas great again. I think that's what the plan is, folks. I think he's saying, fuck all the rest of the world. We're gonna handle this hemisphere right here. Fuck the rest of you. We got all the oil we need. We got all the minerals we need. We don't need shit. Everything that we need is right here. Now, what are you gonna do about it? Because that's what he just told Greenland. What are they gonna do? What are they going to do? Write him a tersely worded letter? That's all they got. That's the only option they have. They're not going to attack us. France going to attack us? Great Britain going to attack? The EU? Who's coming to get us? Who's going to come and get us? Well, what Trump knows about the rest of the planet, these people that have been mismanaging our system and so on know the same about us. They know that you don't want to live up your cushy life. How do I know? Everybody says, and I love this, I keep getting the same thing. When and where, man? When and where? Where's the rally point? We're meeting up. You won't even show up for a town hall meeting and scream and yell at somebody. I'm supposed to expect that you're going to show up to go shoot him? Come on, brother. You may believe that bullshit, but I don't, because I know people. I know who will show up and who won't. I know who will show up and do the right thing. Everybody's still far too comfortable. They believe that it's going to get better. It can't get better, folks. It cannot get better. This is not a doom and gloom. This is not doom and gloom. I'm telling you, I'm the canary in the coal mine. And what I'm trying to tell you as loudly as possible is, hey, I'm in here to tell you guys that there's a problem. And you know what? I smell a fucking problem!
The CramerSez Project will return
after this important message.
Introducing Tusk. With Tusk, you get uncensored news and secure browsing, all while protecting your privacy. Choose the news you trust and take control of your internet. Join the free speech revolution with Tusk. Download Tusk today at tuskbrowser.com.
Are you frustrated with the opinions and agendas the mainstream media calls news? Join the CramerSez Project, a grassroots movement to save free speech and deliver unfiltered truth powered by everyday Americans. We're building the first people-powered news network, 24/7 streaming, citizen journalism, and real facts without spin. If you're ready to dive in and fight for liberty, head to thecramersezproject.com today and sign to become part of the team or put your name on the list to be notified when subscriptions are available. Join us today at thecramersezproject.com.
To learn more about the CramerSez Project, our mission, and how you can become a part of it, please visit thecramersezproject.com.
You're watching CramerSez.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is January 6th, 2026. 5 years ago, I was standing at the bottom of the stairs at the Capitol. I played some of the video earlier, and for those of you who missed it, we'll do this real quick. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. This is at the beginning of the day. We were just going over to listen to Trump speak. You know, what's interesting, folks, is I went there because I saw the election get rigged. I saw it happen in real time. And then we were told we couldn't talk about it, that we couldn't say anything about it, that we couldn't say that it was rigged, that if we did, that it was an election denier. I'm not an election denier. I know what I saw. I saw the election get rigged. And far too many people on the right, especially the rhinos, they jumped in and said, oh, you know why? Because they're the protectors of the status quo. The rhinos are not Republicans. They're the protectors of the status quo. They don't want to change anything. When the Democrats talk about conservatives, that's who they're talking about. That's who they're thinking of But that's not who they mean. We're the conservatives. The rhinos are not conservatives. The rhinos will do whatever they're told to do. You know who they are. Lindsey Graham, John Thune. Can't be trusted. I don't know if you heard that Jim Baird from Indiana, he's in trouble. He had a severe auto accident. I wish a quick recovery for him, but he's one of the asshats as well. Can't be trusted. Voted for a $1.9 trillion spending bill and came back and told the people of Indiana it was a mistake. I voted yes. The machine said no, and it stuck. No, Jim's safe. That's why Jim did it. The caucus, Mike Johnson, went to Jim Baird and said, hey, listen, you're safe in your district. It's not going to hurt you if you do this. If you do this, go ahead. It's not going to hurt you. Take the bullet. Fall on your sword. So that's what Jim Baird did. Folks, that doesn't serve you or me. It served Mike Johnson. It served Jim Baird. It did not serve the American people. So the question I've got to ask you is if they're supposed to fix the problem for us, and they're the ones that started the problem or created the problem or continue to kick the can down the road, how can we expect them ever to be the ones to fix it? We can't. For the same reason that the Founding Fathers realized that they were going to have to do it themselves. That's why they committed themselves. That's why they were really ready not only to kill their enemy, but to die in defense of their cause. That's what you got to wrap your head around. Wanting to kill somebody's easy. Let's go. I want to fight. Oh, wait a minute. You're going to hit me back? I might get hurt myself. Fuck that. I don't want any part of that. Humans are really interesting animals when it comes to this area. This is an area I'm very, very schooled on. That's why I keep telling you. You see, the bully is just a bully. They think that you're going to do what they want you to do just because they said to do it. There's a video today of two security guards trying to keep a guy from walking across the sidewalk, and one of the security guys goes, keep your hand out of your pocket. I don't know who you think you are, pal. But that's who they think they are. They think they have the authority and the right to tell you how to live your life, what medicines you have to put in your body, what fuels you can or cannot cook with. And you think that they're going to be the people to solve the problems. Folks, the only thing that's going to solve the problems in this nation is a total fucking reset of our system. But it's not going to happen in D.C. It's going to happen at home. It's the only place it can happen. Home is the only place that you can have any impact. Home. I run into some of the leaders around this area here from Boone County or Central Indiana. And I'll run into them at the store or the theater or some type of event. And I smile at them and I say, well, do your job. We know where you live. Don't fuck it up. We know where you live. And I'm partly joking and I'm partly not. You see, that's the benefit of local politics. That's why Congress was never meant to go to D.C. to live forever. They were meant to go there, do their thing, and then come back home. Be among the people, serve the people, learn what the people want. But no, they said, no, the parties and all the money, that's in D.C. I want to be there. So what they did is they moved everything to D.C. We need to change it back. We need to rob D.C. of its power by bringing the state legislatures, bringing people back. We're not doing that anymore. And only the states have the power to do that. The federal government is never going to do it. Did you see what happened when they started cutting the money for all the bureaucracy, all the extra spending, all the stupid studies? They cut all that money and everybody's freaking out. Why? Because that's where all the graft is. Folks, there is no way. There is no way the amount of money that we're spending, right? This is how corrupt it is and cannot be fixed. It cannot be fixed. There's no fixing it because we're broke, number one. And number two, they've bastardized the complete system that we're in. Everybody keeps bitching and moaning about capitalism, capitalism, capitalism. We don't live in capitalism. We're living under fascism right now. When you've got corporations in business with the government, they call them a quasi-private public entity. In Indiana, we have one called the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. And when you put money, tax dollars, into the IEDC, once they pay a bill that way, we don't know what happens with the money. We don't know who got it. We don't know where it went. We don't know what it went for. We just got a bill. And we got to pay the bill. But nothing else on the bill other than we owe that company. That's not what our founding fathers had in mind. Just found out in Indianapolis that the DA in Indianapolis will not press charges against children who are sexually groomed or accosted or sent inappropriate images. Will not do it. Nope. Folks, if they won't enforce the law, what are you going to do? Well, you got to do at some point what our founding fathers did. You got to realize that you're not going to fix it. They're not going to fix it. Sitting on your couch, bitching and moaning, don't get it fixed. Calling your congressman, it's your last choice, but you won't even do that. So you expect me to believe that you're ready to go to war, you're ready to go to revolution, but you won't even call your congressman. You won't even bitch and moan. You have the opportunity to scream in somebody's face and tell them, fix the problem. That's what you're getting paid $174,000 a year to do. Go do your fucking job. You won't even do that. And I'm supposed to expect that if I beep, beep, hey, it's time to go, I'm rolling up in 10 minutes, that you're going to be ready to go. Bullshit. If you won't raise your voice, you won't raise a gun. If you won't raise your voice, you won't raise your gun. If you won't complain first and tell the bully, I ain't doing that shit, you don't have the courage to kill him. You don't. That's what they're counting on. It's what Trump is counting on with the rest of the planet in Greenland, in South America. Folks, we are so fucking rich. Nobody wants to mess with us. We're not rich, we're broke. We're the most powerful nation in the world for a reason. They bought our bonds. We're not broke. We just owe $39 trillion in bonds. Everybody else on the planet bought them. It enriched our nation. Fuck them. That's what everybody's thinking. That's what's going to happen. It's the reset. We're here. When Klaus Schwab talked about the Great Reset, we're here, folks. It doesn't get any better. The next step is total collapse. They're talking about a tax holiday. Tax holiday is when they just come in and say no more taxes and everybody's debt is gone. A debt holiday. It's all gone. You don't owe anything anymore. We're starting from scratch, but you got to sign on to the new system. Don't believe me? It's happened before. Go look it up. We've done it twice in this nation. We did it. Well, we've done it actually more than twice, but the biggest ones in the last 100 years were the Depression. That was a reset. 1971, we went off of gold standard. That's a reset. You got to go back and look and see what Roosevelt did to get things under control, how he did his reset. It's quite interesting. He made gold illegal. What? Yeah, all gold. You couldn't own gold. You could have your wedding ring, you could have a couple of pieces, but you couldn't have it. You couldn't store gold. You couldn't hoard gold. You couldn't have it. No, they made you turn in all your gold. And then they reset the value of it to resettle the dollar. That's after the Depression because of what they'd done. They're going to do the same thing within 18 to 36 months. We don't have much time. And it could happen. When I say 18 to 36 months, I don't mean that it's going to be 18 months from now to 36 months. I'm saying anywhere from tomorrow to 36 months. But the majority of it will probably happen in 18 to 36 months. I've been talking about it a lot. We've been looking at it. How would they do what they need to do? Now, everybody keeps thinking, my wife is one of those people as well. They always assume that the status quo is going to continue and the people will get their way. The people who want to put us into a one world government that everything is the same and still get their way. That's not the way it works. They remove their threats, the people that are going to be posed a threat to them, especially among young men. That's the only reason Charlie Kirk was killed. He could mobilize an army, folks. They don't like that. Charlie Kirk was killed because men followed him. That's why Trump is dangerous. They don't like when men follow other men. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., the Kennedys, they don't like that. And who are they? The people who run everything. The ones that are really in control. So many of our politicians and the people in our government, they are nothing more than pawns and puppets themselves. Window dressings. Fugazi, all fake. Doesn't exist. My wife and I were talking the other day about where the system is, or what situation we're in. And in 2020, when things started to go sideways, I sat down with her one day and I walked her through everything, and she looked at me blind, like I was crazy. And then not too long after that, we had a night where we were having some fun, and we were drinking and getting, having a good time. And I was drinking this new whiskey. She'd never let me buy that whiskey again. But for some reason, we got onto the situation of what was going to happen in our nation, where it was going to go. And when I told her that it's not going to get better, it's only going to get worse. Now, keep in mind, this is 2020. It's only going to get worse. Everything's going to get worse. Not better, worse. It's their plan. And she looked at me dazed, and she didn't get it. And I said, you don't get it. She does now. It took her a while. A lot of people are wakening up now. They're starting to realize, but folks, it may be too late now. Their plan is to have certain things done by 2030. I wish you would believe me when I tell you they're moving forward. I belong to every one of their groups. I belong to the newsletters that come out from the WHO. I get all the stuff from the WEF. I read everything these motherfuckers want to send me. I want to hear what they have to say. And when they've got something that they're going to do online, something that I can go watch when they've got a speaker, I go listen to what they have to say. And you know what they're telling us? Free speech is a problem. We got to get rid of free speech. And those guns over in America, those are a problem. We got to get rid of those. They're telling you the world that they want. They're the rich ones, the powerful ones. And there's two kinds of people on this planet that will do what needs to be done. The rich, who have the money, and they're crazy enough to want it done, like Bill Gates. Let's blot out the sun. Let's put a bunch of little fucking satellites up. And no, Bill. That's not your sky, cunt. That belongs to all of us. And just because you got a bunch of money doesn't mean that you have the authority to blot out the sun. Who are you, fucking Icarus's crazy fucking uncle? What the fuck? But nobody will talk to Bill like that. Because around Bill, everybody's a yes man. Oh, you want things in space? Yeah, we can do that. You won't do it. I keep doing it. I'm on a list, folks. We know it. We FOIA'd it. During the last 4 years, I was one of those guys that Biden said, you can't do that. You can't speak. That's why I had to go through so many accounts. That's why I was so throttled for 4 years. There was a year there on TikTok that I couldn't even start an account. I would start it, and the moment I hit the button to do anything, the app closed. Every fucking time. For a year. Don't know what changed. It did. So I was off for a year. If you go back and look at my content, I didn't put anything up for almost a year. But then I realized, it really started in 2022 again. In 2022, I realized we were fucked. I saw the Hunter Biden laptop, saw the contents, not the pictures and all that bullshit. I saw the financials. I've told the story a million times, but I don't cry very often. It takes a lot to make me cry. I cried that day. I was blue. I realized, folks, that the FBI had that laptop, those drives, the content that I was looking at, they had for years. And Hunter Biden was still walking around. We kept hearing people say, there's nobody above the law, there's nobody above the law. I know one guy who is. His name is Hunter Biden. He's above the law. Nothing's going to change Not one more election won't fix it. The only way an election fixes it is if we vote out all these motherfuckers, anybody but the incumbent, that's it. That's the only way it works. They can't get them all on day one. It may take a couple of years to start capturing these motherfuckers again, but if we voted all of them out, all of them, and started from scratch, we might have a chance. But Americans won't do that. They're lazy. You can't get Republicans out in the primary. In the primaries where we get to make people choose. Do you know what the primaries for? That's the term limit. I keep screaming and yelling about it. People get upset when I scream and yell about it because I call you guys dummies, right? The reason I do that is because I want you to understand how important it is, and that don't complain to me about how bad everything is and you can't show up in May or June to vote in your primary. Well, somebody else will fix it. If Republicans don't show up in 2026, both in the primary and the general, the Democrats are going to take over like they do every midterm, and they're going to impeach Trump for the next 2 years. We're not going to get anything done. It's going to be fucked. Congress is going to come to a complete halt because the Democrats won't let it happen, or they're going to assassinate Trump. They only have two options, folks. That's it. And this time they're going to get it done because a bunch of the Republicans want him gone too. Did you see how many Republicans were getting money from Venezuela? Mm-hmm. You think you can fix them. You think one more election is going to do it. Not if you don't replace these cunts. They're all corrupt. All of them. I don't trust any of them. I've got some friends in there. I've told them to their faces, I don't trust you. I think you lie to us. You think I'd lie to you? Yes, I do. I think if you had something that was going to benefit you and it really didn't hurt anybody else much, I think you'd lie to me about it. Absolutely. Yep. I don't trust you. And he's one of my poker buddies. I really don't trust him when we're playing poker, but I trust him even less with politics. I tell these people, I don't give a shit what they think of me. They work for me. I'm their employer. They've forgotten their role. So if you expect them to fix anything for you, you're being childishly naive. If you want things fixed, you got to go back to the way they did it in 1776. That's the only way it gets done. Trump just fixed things in Venezuela. And how are people in Venezuela fixing other issues right now? Have you watched what's going on in Venezuela? Yeah, they're duking it out in the streets right now for who's going to have power. What's interesting about that whole deal is that the government worked with Trump to get Maduro out. I think it's also interesting that it's being reported that Hakeem Jeffries placed a call to Maduro just before our guys got there, but not in enough time to save Maduro's life, to save his ass. That's the rumor, that there was a phone call, but the U.S. military intercepted it. We got problems in this country, folks. The question is, do you think that we're going to fix them with another election? And if we're not, then you've really got to start wrapping your head around what happens next. Now, there's a group of people out there that are morons. You know who you are. Because as soon as I say this, the first thing you're going to say is, well, when they land on my door, you're an idiot. Anybody who ever says that, well, when they come to my door, they'll be sorry. No, they won't. No, they won't. Maduro, do you know where he lived? He was in the presidential palace. Do you know where that palace was? It was on a military base. Our boys landed on a military base, killed 40 people, including a grandma, and took Maduro. I was listening to a group of guys talking. They go, wow, they got in there and out of there and nobody died? And I went, no, a lot of people fucking died. They just weren't Americans. Oh, I didn't hear anything about that. Yeah, you think that they landed on a military base and everybody just said, yeah, he's right over there. The guy with the mustache? The dictator? Yeah, he's in there. Yeah, I think he's trying to hide in that room right there. They had to fight their way in, fight their way out. No Americans lost their lives. So when you say, well, they show up on my doorstep, good luck with that. That's what Maduro said, right? He even told them where he was going to be. They came and got him. Trump said, thanks. Now we got the president of Colombia doing the exact same thing. We got the president of Cuba doing the exact same thing. I'd watch it, boys. Trump ain't fucking around. Now, my concern is that the globalists are going to take every action they can. Keep in mind that Caesar was killed by his closest circle. It wasn't the citizens that did it. And it was his best friend. You too, Brutus? You too? Et tu, Brute? Folks, January 6th was a moment in history that the left will always scream and yell about as they're burning down cities, calling you a Nazi and a fascist, punching people in the mouths because of how they voted. And then they turn around and call January 6th the worst day in our history. I don't listen to them anymore. Fuck them. Yap, 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 yap. I don't know if you noticed, I don't make many comments on people's shit unless I think it's really funny. I'm making a snarky comment. I don't get into arguments with people. Don't give a fuck. The only thing that I'm saying out loud on a continual basis is that you guys should all think about this as well. I'm letting people know up front what's going to happen when the lights go out. When things go sideways and law and order is not there anymore, and I got to protect everything. When it's horrible, and the world that they begged for is coming down on their head, I want them to understand that I'm not going to worry about getting water, and I'm not going to worry about getting food. I'm coming for those who got us here. Those who are responsible. Now, I said that the other day to a group of politicians, and I'm smiling. I'm looking at all you guys, and I'm telling you, I'm coming for the ones who are responsible. And one guy says, I'm taking that as a threat. And I said, really? That sounds like a guilty conscience to me. Imagine that. And tell somebody that I'm going to go after the people responsible for getting us into this situation, and that politician took it as a threat. Do you think that he's going to be willing to fix the problems? No. Nope. But he is one of the problems that need to be fixed. We'll be right back after this.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
Global news with local views.
CramerSez returns after this message from our partners.
Franklin D. Roosevelt said,
"In politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can be sure it was planned that way."
I don't make a habit of quoting FDR, but on this point, he's 100% right, which makes Vice President Vance's comments from last night even more important to pay attention to.
The only way to honor Charlie is to get to the bottom of exactly how this person was radicalized and who else was involved in it.
Hi, I'm Peter Flaherty, chairman of the National Legal and Policy Center. Since 1991, the NLPC has investigated and exposed the high crimes and misdemeanors of politicians and corporate leaders alike. Our mission is about one thing: accountability, not partisanship, just like Vice President Vance was talking about last night.
That is political terrorism, but it's not just the people who are killing the cops. It's not just the people who are engaging and throwing the Molotov cocktails and in the riots. Where was the money coming from? Who was organizing this violent activity? That is not going after Democrats unless, by implication, you're saying every single Democrat is involved in planning political violence.
For the past several years, NLPC is focused on who's funding the violence on our streets and the radicalization of our kids. Oddly, the same names keep popping up. Names like Soros, Hoffman, and Gates. The protests and the riots aren't happening by accident. The violence is not spontaneous. The left strategy is clear: encourage arson, vandalism, and looting, and then blame the violence on the law enforcement response. The protesters are well-funded and equipped, and the NLPC is digging deep into exposing those responsible for supplying these groups with the masks, shields, and other devices being used to perpetuate violence in the name of social justice. To learn more about our mission or to join it, follow and share us on this social media platform or visit our website, nlpc.org.
To learn more about the CramerSez project, our mission, and how you can become a part of it, please visit thecramersezproject.com.
You're watching CramerSez.
Welcome. My name is Kramer. This is the CramerSez Project, and wrapping up, final section here. Want to wrap up and say thank you to everybody for the last year. Everything on social media in the last year blew up. I don't know what happened. Facebook took the fuck off. I want to thank everybody that follows me and the content that we put out, that you like it and you comment on it. I really appreciate it. But the most important thing to me is that we get back to truth. I'm so tired of turning on the media and seeing them lying to us on a regular basis or telling us the truth in a specific way, in a way that makes people believe a lie. When they say a comment like, well, there's no evidence of, that's a lie. It doesn't mean anything. It's a vacuum. Ideas go there to die. What we've done is we've tried to form a new news service, and over the last few weeks, I've been asking people that are interested to get a hold of me at the CramerSez Project and let me know if you'd like to join what we're doing. My background is media, advertising, marketing. I've been in radio and TV since I was 16 years old, so a long time. And today, it's never been easier to broadcast to the planet than it is right now. It used to take millions of dollars to do what I'm doing right now. It doesn't. Anybody can do it from their living room. And we think that it's time to build a news service that is based from the ground up instead of the top down. Instead of everything being told, we being told what's important is that there's a repository for everybody in the country to be able to report news to, similar to TikTok, but upload news stories, things that are happening in your community. Now, not everybody's going to use it, and some of the reports may be stupid, but the system will figure that out. And those stories that are most important, what's going on, like the work that Nick Shirley is doing right now across the country, where he's going in and just asking questions. All he's doing is asking questions. And because Nick Shirley asked questions, Tim Walz isn't running for governor anymore. That's the power of what can be done. We want you to join us. The CramerSezProject.com. The CramerSezProject.com. Let me see if I've got, do I have that up there? So everybody can see what it is. I think, there it is right there. That's the address, the CramerSezProject.com. We're looking for audio guys, video guys, graphic designers, web developers, video editors, journalists, news people. No, we do not have any money. This is grassroots. But here's the thing that I've realized, folks, every time that I do something, every time I make a move like this, I have never had a dime in my pocket, and I'm a millionaire now. There's a reason for that. You have to create something that people want, and I think that the nation is looking for truth. They want conversation. What Sean Ryan is doing, what Tucker Carlson is doing, what Candace Owens is doing. Whether you like what she's doing or not, there's an audience that does. Our focus is truth. We want to do long-form investigations. I'm working right now on it's a long piece, it's a documentary, but we're doing it in pods. And this next pod is going to be 25 to 30 minutes and explains how the Source organization spends their money, how they get it, where it goes, and the impact that they've had on illegal immigration and the violence in our streets. You're not going to get that from ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, or MS Now, whatever they're calling themselves. You're not going to get that from them. They go to his parties. They like that guy. They're not going to report on him. The same reason that they're not reporting on the pharmaceutical agencies. We have to have somebody who is the fourth wall in this country. Somebody who's reporting. And when you go to the mainstream media, the model is top down. All the advertisers choose what's on the stations, what's on the networks. They get a big say in that. And if a big advertiser comes in and says, I don't like that person or that person or that person, trust me, that trickles down. Like I said, I spent 40 years in broadcasting. Side note real quick with Jimmy Kimmel. The thing with Jimmy Kimmel, there was never an issue of free speech with him. You do not have free speech on broadcast airwaves. You don't have it. There are 7 words you can't say right off the top. 7. Cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker. There's a whole bunch of them. There's 4 more. You cannot say those on broadcast TV. Well, he didn't say any of those words. Yeah, there's a bunch of other rules that you have to abide by also. If Jimmy had taken his third-rate license back in 1981 or 1982, he'd know that, but he didn't. He's just a fucking cuck. So no, truth is important. We don't get it from the media. Every time something happens, they massage it this way, they massage it this way. I just want to know what the fuck happened. I don't want your opinion on it. I just want to know. I'll make my own decision. I'll make my own opinion. We have a building, and we're looking to have it renovated and studios built. We're looking for the American people to help us. It's not there yet. I'm not ready to divulge it all. But if you go to the CramerSezProject.com, you can see what we're starting. We need help, folks. We are going to have to take this nation back. Us. Politicians ain't going to fix it. Elections aren't going to fix it. And until enough people understand what's really going on and how much corruption there is and how deep it goes, I keep saying you can't fix D.C. until you fix home. Home is the only thing that has any leverage on D.C. D.C. will not get fixed. If your home is corrupt, D.C. will stay corrupt. Home is what matters. Don't worry about D.C. Everybody goes, well, we'll march to D.C. For what? We did that. They put us in jail. No, if I'm going to march, it's going to be on the Indiana State House. It's going to be on the Ohio State House. It's going to be on the Kentucky State House. That's who I'm going after. Those people are home here. I can hold that motherfucker accountable. Why? Because I know where he lives. That's why they don't want to come home, folks. They don't want accountability. They don't want to talk to you about politics in the store. They don't want to talk to you about it in the streets. They don't want to talk to you about it in the churches. They don't want to talk to you about it anywhere. They want you to shut the fuck up, sit the fuck down, do as you're told. I'm in charge now. And you think that's going to be fixed with one more election? I don't think so. The only way it gets fixed is with a mindset change in this nation. And that comes with information. The more information people have, the more tools they have. I mean, look at what we're finding out now here in just the last few weeks, the information that's come out about what's been going on in our nation. How many GOP members have been taking money from Maduro? That's just one of the things that we know about. What's really going on with these vaccines? What's going on in Indianapolis, where the DA in Indianapolis will not go after sexual assault cases that involve minors where an adult is trying to groom someone online. He won't go after them. Why? I want to know, don't you? Channel 13 in Indianapolis isn't going to report on that. WISH, they're not. THR, they're not. WRTV, they're not. WTTV, they're not. XIN, they're not. None of these stations are going to do any reporting on what's going on in the State House. They don't give two fucks. They want to tell you what happened at the baseball game. Here's the weather. Here's the sports. And here, watch these commercials. They're not news stations, folks. They're entertainment stations. That's all they do. It's to keep you busy. How do I know? I spent 40 years in that industry. My number one thing is I know how to get attention. I know how to get eyeballs. That was my claim to fame. You can help. You want to help? You keep saying, what can we do? What can we do? We have to do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to fix it. As my dad used to say, if they want to, they would. If they wanted to, they would. Did you see anybody stay in D.C. when they took their last break? Did you see anybody stay there and demand that everybody else stay and work on the problems? No, they all took their break. They all went home. We'll be back in 4 weeks. We'll be back in 3 weeks. Got to go make some stock trades. They think they're special, folks. They don't think they're with us. They think they're special. And we can't fix that system. It's unfixable. Unfixable. Cannot be fixed. I used to believe that it could. I believed that going and voting would make it happen. But the reason that I say this is not because I think it's all lost. Folks, there's far too much corruption. Starts here at home. Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Florence, Kentucky, Danville, Illinois. I don't care what city you go to, it's there. How do I know? Because we've already started investigations. It's everywhere, folks. Everywhere. Maybe what the left wants is best for us all, if you think about it. Then they're hurt out. They want 500 million or less on the planet. They're doing everything to make sure that that happens. They're building bunkers. They're telling you what the world is going to be tomorrow. And you're sitting back and going, okay. Well, when rich, powerful people tell me what they're going to do to me and that, well, we don't really have a future for you, Kramer. You know, we're not going to be interested in keeping you around or people like you or people. No, I take them seriously. When people make threats against me, I take them seriously. I don't care how subtle they are. You shouldn't either. That's what we want to talk about. By pulling these people out of the shadows, by pointing the finger at them. Folks, there are billions of us and only 250 of them. That's it. There's only 250 people that run the entire planet, and there's 13 families. That's it. That's it. 250 people. And the reason that those 250 people rule the planet is because they have money. And with that money, they pay Joe. And Joe will kick your ass if you don't do what his boss says. Joe can be a DA. Joe can be a cop. Joe can be a private investigator. Joe can be whatever the rich guy needs to get his way. Joe will do that. Now, Joe's just an average citizen like you. He didn't have any authority or any power over you. But because he's got the connections to that guy, all kinds of things can happen. When Joe says jump, you better jump. And on the way up, ask how high. How high you need me to go? That's the way the system works. It's no different than the playground. The bully tells one of his minions to go take care of you, go beat him up. And guess what happens? The minion goes and does it. The lackey goes and does it. Nothing's changed. That's what we're trying to bring news to. Investigate. Dig deep. I want to find out about these pharmaceuticals. I want to find out what these vaccines actually do. Don't you? ABC, NBC, CBS, they're not going to do it, folks. CNN ain't going to do it for you. They're not going to dig into it. Pharmaceuticals are their biggest moneymaker. The only way we do this is just like in the old days. Do you know what Ben Franklin was? Ben Franklin was a social media star of his day. He was a writer. He had a newspaper. He published funny things, no different than what I do. I just do videos. He wrote. It's the same thing. If you go back and read what he wrote, funnier than shit stuff. A lot of things that we use today, a penny saved, a penny earned, all of that came from Ben fucking Franklin. He added a little humor into everything that he said. For what reason? Because he wanted you to understand when he was talking serious, when he wanted you to understand the topic was serious, he was serious about it, just like I am right now. I joke around a lot. I'm a jovial guy. I like to have a good time, but I'm serious about what's going on in this nation. They keep talking about how well the economy's doing and how well the stock market's doing. In Indianapolis, Indiana, Peterman Brothers, one of the largest plumbing companies in the state, just let 37 guys go. 37 guys today, this morning. Economy ain't doing that good. They're letting 35 plumbers go. What that means, folks, if you don't understand, is that's 35 trucks that they also have. Each one of those trucks is about $100,000 in gear that is just going to be sitting there, doing nothing. Do the math on that. $3.5 million in trucks just sitting there, not earning any money. You must be really, 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 really broke, in trouble, to let $3.5 million sit on your parking lot and let the guys that drove those go because you can't afford to pay them. That's the kind of information, the kind of news that we need to know about. What's really going on. They don't report it. They don't talk about it. They don't put it in context. Context is important. Why is what's going on important? Why this happening here or this happening here? Everybody started getting pissed off about Trump starting a war in Venezuela. They have no understanding of what's going on. The dynamics and the pieces on the table that are being moved. It's not about the oil. It's not about the drugs. It's about the elites. It's about cutting off their money supply. He's robbing them of everything. He's turning off the spigot, the money. Billions of dollars going out our door through NGOs. Rubio put a stop to that today. Now, folks, you've got to understand that for change to happen, two things have to happen, right? They've got to want to change. The other side has to want to change or be able to see the error of their ways. And the other side has got to have the will to force that change if the other side doesn't want it. Trump just did that. That's what he did with Maduro. He called Maduro, gave him an option, several options. Maduro didn't take them. Trump took him out. They won't let Trump live much longer, folks. I don't think he's going to live the full term. I do not wish that. I hate to even say it, have it come out of my mouth, but they cannot allow this to continue. Which is why I say when you think the status quo is always going to be there, that Trump's going to be there for the next 3 years. Everything's perfect, boys. Look at what we're doing. Just like that, things can change. You see, if I was a strategist and I wanted to get things my way done, do you know how I do it? Do you know how I disrupt everything? I'd destroy the Republican Party. The first thing that I would do is I would go after Trump. Yep, win the midterms and then impeach Trump. Well, J.D. Vance becomes the president. Everybody's fine with that. No, he's a war criminal. He's got to go too. And Pete Hegseth. And then all those ICE agents. And then anybody that spoke out against anybody in the Democrat Party over the last, well, however long it's been. You think that's far-fetched? Go listen to what the Democrats are telling you is going to happen if they win the midterms. They're not lying, folks. When powerful people tell you what they're going to do, you should believe them. I do.
Thank you for watching Kramer Says Live.
This concludes this broadcast.
Please follow, like, and subscribe to be notified the next time
The Kramer Says Project goes live.